guys, I'm gonna lay down. I don't know if you can see me or not. So in arid regions or deserts and things, there's a couple simple ways, pretty easy ways that you can find water. So behind me here you can see these trees. Well, in certain parts of the country, trees are not very common. Out here they're not very common. One thing trees do indicate are where you could possibly be able to get some water. Dig for some water, create an Indian seep or Indian well. Now, I know for a fact there's water here. It could be surface level, it could be 2 foot down, could be 5-6 foot down. But I know there's water here because this is the Cimarron River. We're actually laying down on part of the old Santa Fe Trail right now, if you're curious. But so I know, and for instance, during the Santa Fe Trail period, they did not know that you could dig down in the Cimarron River and get water anywhere along that river. Back then, in a course of maybe 2 miles, you may see standing water in the Cimarron, sometimes 12 to 18, 20 sometimes. Or sometimes you can go for miles and miles and miles and not see water in the Cimarron. But in the Cimarron and a lot of other rivers too, where they look dry, if you dig down, you can 99% of the time find some type of moisture or water. Trees out here are a good indication. So if you come up over a hill and you see some trees in the distance and you're in a desert or arid region, I would make a beeline for those trees if you're in need of some water. Now, another way in certain parts of the country and in the world, I know in Australia this works too. It should work everywhere actually, but there are certain birds that you see around moisture or water holes. There are certain birds that during certain times of the year, in the mornings or the evenings or midday, will fly into water holes routinely. If you pay attention to your birds, they can lead you to water just as easy as a game trail. Now, one issue with a game trail is a lot of times they don't lead to water. So if you're going the wrong direction on it, it may lead you to a bedding spot or something. But that trail should technically intersect with another trail, and eventually you should be able to find water by following an animal trail. But birds, up here in the U.S., mourning doves, that's a good example. Certain times of the year, those birds in the mornings and the evenings fly into a water source. And if you can see those types of birds and recognize them from a distance, then you can see where they're landing and follow them and find water. So a good tip is if you found a water hole, sit back a mile or two from that water hole and watch the birds that fly in and learn to identify those birds from different distances. So one day sit in the evening, maybe 200 yards from the water hole. The next day, go sit in the evening 500 yards from the water hole. The next day, go 2 miles from the water hole. The next day, 5-8 miles from the water hole. Just keep increasing the distance and watching those birds so you can identify those different types of birds from different distances. I know in parts of Australia, and I'm sure Africa, this is a very common way to find water, is to watch the certain types of birds that they have there that fly into these water sources. Here in the U.S., it does work too, but a lot of these birds are migratory. So certain times of the year, you're not going to be able to see those same birds flying in. But pay attention to your animals. Your animals can teach you a lot about where you're at, where you need to go, what you can and can't eat sometimes. But your animals, and watch your birds. you know, things, ducks and things, that's a given that they're going to bring you into some water. But all right, guys, that was my little bit on a couple ways to find water out here in the arid grasslands. I hope you guys enjoy. Till the next one.